Regalaste la muerte, ¿viste? Págala conmigo para que tenga millonario.
Week 22, episode 22, I should say that would be 22. UndR Dog Pod. Welcome, y'all. What's going on, brother?
Man, you already know what's going on with me. A wonderful week one. Other than that, I'm blessed, brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Blessed and highly favored. On the right side of the dirt. Can't complain, man.
I know that's right.
Yes, sir. So let's jump right in, man. Let's talk about week one, NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Few things happened, How about
A
them
lot,
Cowboys?
a lot happened. Well, the Cowboys is, to be honest, they were the only team in week one to not score a touchdown. So it's looking real bad. Dak ended up injuring his the thumb on his throwing hand. He had surgery, I believe, yesterday. Um, he should be fine, but it's one of the 4 to 6. It's one of them more like 6 to 8 week things.
Okay.
And like I said, Cowboys going Cowboy. Jerry Jones is not putting him on IR for some type of probably ego motivated reason. Instead of, instead of actually
Does that
being,
mean he still gets paid then?
I don't think it has anything to do with pay. I think it just has more to do with roster spots, and especially when clearly that being healthy is going to be a thing. Got to tighten up. As far as the defense, excuse me, they played pretty well. Held the Bucks to 19 points. So I mean they're good on that end, but that offense we got to see what's going to happen. And then CeeDee Lamb ain't gonna cut it. Somebody else going to have to step up or get open. Hopefully Michael Gallup can come back. James Washington can come back, give a little spark. But other than that, they ended up losing to the Bucks just like the start of last season. Game wasn't as close this time. Um, Bills Rams was exciting. Just real quick, that was only the third time in the 17 years that the Super Bowl champ gets the first game that somebody's lost. Tale of two halves. It was 10 and 10 and a half, and then Bills put up 21 unanswered. The Bills look like a pretty solid squad, but it was like I said, tale of two halves. The first half was heavy mistakes, stuff like that. But they ended up pulling it out. But it was turnovers on each side. Matt Stafford had like 3 picks. Our B teams faced off the Saints and the Falcons. It was a little nail biter down to the fourth quarter. The Falcons was up by 16 in the fourth quarter, ended up losing. About 12 minutes left. The Bears upset the Niners. I was big on the Bears. Had the Bears going 9-8, but I think they might go 10-7 now because they beat them Niners.
I saw them slipping and sliding in that water out there.
Yeah, that field was ridiculous, bro. I don't know
It
who the
looks
grounds
something.
crew is, but they got to step their game up. Steelers won in overtime against the Bengals. Joe Burrow was sacked 7 times and had 5 turnovers, so it looks like that new old line is still a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Eagles and the Lions had shot it out. The Patriots lost to Miami as per usual. The Jets are the Jets. Carson Wentz, I think, threw for 4 touchdowns. Looks good as a commander, but they played the Jaguars, so the story's still out on that.
Okay.
The Browns came to Carolina and handed Baker a loss in his little revenge game. He even had little meme T-shirts made and then tried to act like they didn't exist. The Colts and the Texans ended up in the tie. The Texans actually got up early on them, 20-7, and then they ended up tying. And I think there was a missed field goal by Rodrigo Blankenship. He's been let go. The Giants edged out the Titans. Good for the Giants, bad for the Titans. But I mean, the Packers had a 1 touchdown showing against the Vikings, losing 23-7. Uh, yeah, bro. Aaron Rodgers is going through it, man. You should have seen some of the faces. Now, granted to him, he was putting it right in the basket, but some of these receivers were dropping passes.
Speaking about going through it though, man, you haven't touched on Denver versus who they play, Seattle. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna let you
that's
get to that, but that coach has been going through it for that decision of going for a field goal as opposed
we'll jump to that real quick just because I want to talk about Machi last. Yeah, on Monday on Monday night, the NFL is nobody's friend. They sent Russell straight back to Seattle, game one.
I know.
Uh, and it looks like decent defense, good coaching, and a running back or a quarterback that makes the least mistakes. Wins the game again. Russ looked the same. They try to let Russ cook. They try to let Russ cook. And as Chris Bouchard said, it wasn't a gourmet meal, but he was cooking.
He threw a couple picks now, which I
I
can't.
mean, yeah, there was a couple fumbles too. Javante, he fumbled. It wasn't. It's like I said, it wasn't the best game. But they lost, and that was the game they were supposed to win. It was by far one of the easiest games on their schedule. Granted, it was week 1, but you got people praising Geno Smith now. All credit to Geno Smith. He once had a game in college where he threw 8 touchdowns for West Virginia. So I mean, Geno Smith is cool. He was behind Russ for a long time. He's a system quarterback, and you see that the system still works. This was my biggest critique of the Broncos, that they wasn't going to be ready. They didn't have the depth nor the money to acquire it. They look about one injury away from being done, like I said. And Bart Scott, that take is marinating, brother. I hope you come
But
find
what did you think about that decision, though? If you were the coach in that moment, field
It's
goal or
5 yards.
you quarterback in?
I mean, I'm running with QB1, so you know what Andy Reid do. But if I was Nathaniel Hackett, you gotta go. What'd you
Like
pay him all that? You paid him. How you gonna pay him all that money and then send Brad McManus out there to kick a 64-yard field goal, the second longest in NFL history, instead of just trying to go for it with Russ, because then at least you can live and die by that. We did all this build up. He did all the practices, the motions, the goofy promos, all the corny shit. You know what I'm saying? Flat out. And it's looking weak, and he got to come back and see what it do this week. So beyond that, what's the other games? Oh, the Chargers edged out the Raiders, and then you already know what went down in the desert, dog. What we gonna do without Tyreek Hill? The Chiefs ain't finna be the same. Mahomes is gonna be exposed. All these things.
Every time you touch your glasses like that, you remind me of a little E40. With the
gun. Hey, what's funny is I get that from my pops. My pops. But yeah, bro, we put up. It was 44-21 us, but don't let that score fool you. At one point, it was 37-7.
Okay.
Defense looked amazing. This is what I told everybody, that the Red Storm defense was brewing. We started 6 rookies and held them to 7 points through almost the whole game. Steve Spagnuolo is the man. Andy Reid's the best coach in football outside of Bill Belichick. We had the best quarterback in football. And we won the first game in the desert. And we're going to win the last one, too, because the Super Bowl is in Arizona. So we're going to get the first dub and the last one. That's how we rolling.
Not to take any thunder away from KC, when you talked about coaching, I just remember I saw the story. And they mentioned it during the Monday night game, how Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll are the oldest coaches in the NFL right now at age 70. And I was like, Jesus Christ. So Colin Cowherd had a tape the other day, and he was saying how he thinks, because of how terrible the Patriots are this year, Bill Belichick will retire after this season.
No.
What are your thoughts?
No.
Okay, moving on.
No. No.
I just thought that was crazy, man.
No, I will say that the difference between the teams that were good in week 1 and the teams that were bad in week 1 was play calling. So I mean the Patriots never play good in Miami. They usually get this game in the beginning of the year. What they would prefer to do, you know what I'm saying, is get the game in Foxborough early and then get the game in Miami late, so that it's not. But I'd rather take the hit in the first game and then had a full advantage of them boys coming to Foxborough in January or December or whenever. You know what I mean? So I would roll my dice like that too. But they ended up losing. Jalen Waddle got loose on the defense. Tyreek Hill had a decent showing. Tua didn't mess it up. So they ended up edging them out. And the pass looked like they need a play caller, but we all knew that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Bill Belichick, and I'm not going to count him out, and especially when you got like I said, the Dolphins and the Jets in that division, the Bills, you know what I mean? But it's still a chance.
Got you. Well, let's move on ahead and talk about week 2 games.
We going right back at it. And this is what I was trying to tell somebody else as well. This is not a game this year, bro. Thursday night football in Arrowhead Stadium. We got the Chargers coming to town. face the Chiefs.
Homie.
Yes, Patrick and the Mahomes. Because it ain't Tyreek Hill no more. It's the Mahomes, bro. Y'all gotta pay attention. A little highlight on my dude real quick before we get into week 2. He now, I think, leads NFL history with like the most games with like 5 touchdowns, no picks, and 300 yards. And he's in a group of like 6 quarterbacks who've ever even done it, and he's done it in 64 games. Everybody else is sitting around 200 something. Tom Brady got like 9, but he's at like almost 300 games. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's just coming to that point where it's just like, man, don't believe me, just watch.
I'm rooting for him, man.
Yeah, and especially this week, it's gonna be tough. We had a couple injuries, just like little like hamstring, soft tissue stuff guys will only be out for a couple weeks for. But Keenan Allen, the wide receiver 1 for the Chargers, actually got hurt, so he probably won't be playing this week. So it's kind of even. We'll see how it goes. Should be a good game regardless. They always play us tough, and especially in Arrowhead. I believe our last 2 losses at home in the AFC West are against the Chargers.
Okay.
So it's like I said, it is what it is. Some of the other games that really point out will be Tampa Bay versus New Orleans. Tom Brady's 0-4 against the Saints ever since he's been to Tampa. The Patriots actually play against the Steelers, so we got Mike Tomlin, Bill Belichick. That's going to be a good game no matter what anybody says. Since the Colts tied and the Jaguars lost, they're playing to see who wins. You got the Dolphins who won and the Ravens who won are going to see who win. The Rams, Sean McVay will be coaching with a under 500 record for the first time in his career, by the way, against the Falcons. So that'll be an interesting game. The Niners have to turn it back around against the Seahawks. The Broncos they have to play the Texans, so maybe Russell can turn it around, but we're going to see. We still got the verdict out on him. Cardinals and the Raiders. And Sunday night, you got Bears and the Packers. Now, this is an interesting game. Simply because if the Bears can catch the Packers slipping and win 2 games that they wasn't supposed to win, the Bears, they literally might be in the playoffs, bro. I'm not even playing.
I believe it. And
then Monday night, I thought the first week we had 2 games on Monday night, but I guess it moved to the second week. We got Titans-Bills. I think the Bills win that easily. And then we got Vikings-Eagles. That'll be the late game. That'll be the real good one. It says Philly by 2, but we got some good footballs back, bro.
I can't wait.
Outside of that, we got for all the fantasy people out there, shout out to all my people in the Reggie. Shout out to all my people in the Rillos, Bola included. Bola just finished. Hold on, let me point at Bola. I don't know which way to point. Yeah, this way. I'm shooting everybody up. Bola finished his first week of fantasy. You smell me? And he ended up losing the PhD, Dr. Dane. But
I did.
But he, you know what I'm saying? He did well. His team's solid. We're gonna see. Make sure he bounced back. We're gonna try and get him coached up right.
I see. I said, is this why Dale was making all of them picks? He was predicting this week 1 matchup.
That probably was, and that's why you can't trust. I'm trying to tell you, bro. Dirty days. Pretty much, there's only 7 games in the league, but some of the highlight games, we got me versus Ben. Should be a real tight game. Pat versus Dane's mom. That's always fun. Pat lost week 1, so if he can't start 0-2 with a loss to Dane's mom, you already know the deal.
Yeah.
And then Dane actually lost in the big league. He's got to bounce back. We got the 1-2 facing off, Daryl and Steve. That's going to be real hype. Victor and Rico, 2 very unlikely victors in week 1, all puns intended. They both won. They're going to have to face off and see who catch that first L. And then from first to worst, my boy Blizzy Blake is in 14th place. He literally won the Super Bowl, went right to the bottom, just like his Rams. And he going to have to face Nate in the Booty Bowl game of the week. So,
man.
Bro, I'm just saying. But that's what's going on with the Reggie Report. We had some crazy waivers to go down too, bro. I was like the 11th waiver, and I ended up getting Taysom Hill. I don't know what games people are watching, but, it is what it is. But that's all from the Reggie Report.
All right, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk a little basketball.
Definitely.
A few things have been going on.
Yeah, that shit you told me was crazy.
So, before I talk about the Bob, I forget his last name.
Brian
Ryan take.
Two first names.
Um, so let's talk about Robert Sarver. So basically, this is the Suns and Mercury owner.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA was doing an investigation on him for about that went on for about I want to say 15 years. Basically, they were saying that there was issues of racism, and just mistreating women and employees and stuff like that.
Bro, it said interviews with 320 individuals. I saw that immediately.
Yeah, including current and former employees. This
Evaluation of more than 80,000 documents.
Yes. So I mean, with all that said, people were going in on Adam Silver at his press conference because basically they were saying, remember Donald Sterling?
Mhm.
He got banned from the league and they forced him to sell his team. And they were
Mhm.
basically saying, how come the same thing didn't happen to this guy? Like he said the N-word, he's still allowed to own his both teams, and y'all aren't removing him from the league. And I mean, what did he say? I read it on here. I think he said there's no way for you to tell what his heart was. Here it is. Silver is averse to not knowing the context of racist language Server is said to have used. Silver says we don't know what was in his heart when that language was used. The 43-page report mentions 5 instances of Sarver using the N-word in the workplace from 2004 to 2017. And here's what I'll say. I think it's great. I applaud the NBA for suspending him and fining him the maximum of 10 million. But I think, the precedent has to be set, that this type of behavior is not tolerated in the workplace, regardless how much money you have and how much you influence you can, persuade. So with that said, I think the league did the bare minimum with just slapping him on the wrist. That's like saying somebody was talking about blowing up the White House, and then you're like, I don't know what was in his heart. I can't infer if he actually really meant that he was gonna blow up the White House. I may be reaching a little bit with that type of analogy, but it begs the question, what won't they allow if you have money? And I'll leave it on
I'm holding my brain
there.
because, bro, stuff like this,
Yeah,
stuff like this be wild to me because you could say that about any criminal.
yeah.
Oh, you don't know went in his heart. Shit. He put the ski mask on, didn't he? You know what I'm saying? He cocked the
Did it
gun
for
back,
so
didn't
long, didn't he?
he? He screamed, "Get on the floor," didn't he?
Yeah,
So to me,
yeah,
I this kind of ties into some of the stuff that I've been saying over these episodes, over these podcasts, just a little tidbits of stuff we don't really dive too deep into because I don't want to take the fun out of what we're trying to do. But a lot of people have teams just to make money, bro. They don't give a shit. Like, they don't. He was there. He was making his money. The Suns weren't competing. The Suns go to the finals. Some lightest shit on the Suns. All of a sudden, dirty laundry. See what
yeah.
I'm saying? Like when sometimes they don't want to be in the front. You know what I mean? So it's like, uh, I bet you the same thing happened. You go to Detroit Lions right now. Now, yes, of course, the Detroit Lions are even though they suck, they're way more of a legacy team than the Suns ever were. But in that same sentiment, some people are just happy with making that money because these people got money. Like they'll have a team that's like you and me opening up if we franchise the Burger King. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's cool, but like, is that my whole? Nah, we just franchised the Burger King.
Right.
So that's just there. And then $10 million, bro, when he worth 10 billion, who gives a fuck about $10 million, bro?
Exactly.
That's like you and me say something vulgar right now. They be like, oh, $10. Oh shit, I say it again.
Hmm.
Since I know that's the price, I
So it
say
is. It's just $10.
$10. Shit.
I still got my team. I
And
still
I kind of think that that's what I'm saying, and then it becomes the whole But then it gets fuzzy because then it becomes the individual versus the organization, and those owners are just gonna vote the dude out no matter what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's affecting everybody's bottom line. So even if whether it's hard or not, what the owner's gonna do. It's bad for business.
Yeah.
So he out of there. It might not be now, might not be next week, might not be next month, but he out of there. I ain't worried about it.
Think so?
Yeah, remember I used to always say he cheap anyway. He been cheap. That's why the Suns don't ever do that. But that's what I'm saying. He making his money. He don't care. Well, he was. He was making his money. Because now, you know what I'm saying? But like notorious. Some of them owners is all like that.
Mm.
Depending on the squad. You could probably say the same thing about the people on the Redskins. Oh, my bad. The Commanders. No, but I'm serious. Like the organizations who they've been moderately shitty for like 25, 30 years. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, you just never got it right. Like, nah, there's plenty of talent. You could always try to win games, but they don't be trying to win games. They be trying to sell tickets. They don't want to win games. Like, yes, winning games does get you to the Super Bowl, but it doesn't necessarily mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And on that note, before we finish our last topic and we talked about winning games, let's talk about our sponsors. Gold Standard Farms. They are a boutique hemp farm specializing in organic hemp cultivation, seed genetics, R&D, and eco-friendly hemp-based materials. They were founded in 1941 in Martin, Tennessee. For more information, please reach out to Carson at goldstandardfarms.com.
Big facts.
And before we go on to that next topic, it's kind of I don't want to say take of the church, but I kind of want to know what your idea or what your thoughts are on what this man had to say. Bob Ryan on Kevin Durant. Let me find it.
Big facts.
Yeah. So, my mouse is acting up. Bear with me. Here we go.
Gucci.
And let's run that back.
I don't need it. I'm happy. I don't want to win with him. I do not want him. I don't.
You don't want to root for him. You don't want to root for Kevin Durant.
You don't want Bob is such a great
I want
writer.
to root for this group right here that we have a team assembled that and grow, and now that we've added Brogdon, we're going to get to Gallinari. But now that we've added Brogdon, I love this team.
Yeah.
I don't want to win with that shithead. All right, and I think he is one, frankly. So
put that in the Boston Globe, Bob Ryan. I don't want to win with that shithead. Put that in the Globe.
Yeah, I don't want to win with him. I don't know.
Hey, I'm going to push back on that.
Let me back up. Most people, they don't go that far. Winning's winning, no matter who you're winning with. I guess I'm sorry. I've been through too many championships, and lucky me. And I don't want to win with this guy.
Yeah.
Screw him. No, let's stick with the group we got. They're good enough to win in theory. They've added Brogdon, and presumably once he gets over his injury, Gallinari, we'll talk about that. And they've bolstered the team that fell 2 games short of winning. And I don't want to win with this guy. Screw him. I don't need it.
What are you thinking, bro? He does not want to win with that shithead.
I mean, I live, you know what I'm saying? King David. He is Celtic fan. I more or less felt the same way when they started about trade talks for KD. It was like, y'all literally went to 6 games with the Warriors. I don't understand why you would want to break that up. I would want to add to it. You know what I mean? So I thought that it was kind of crazy that they would also mess with the players' heads. They were talking about trading Marcus Smart, and he the reigning defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was just kind of one of these just very weird. You know what I mean? So I mean, I agree. I wouldn't have called him a shithead. I'd have just been like this. Just not. I mean, but he from Boston, bro.
That's not an excuse, it, man.
I mean, it doesn't excuse it, but it helps me understand. You know what I mean? They got, Boston's Boston, bro. And I try not to and that's not a bad label on anybody, man. I got plenty of friends from New England, a business partner from New England. You know what I mean? Like there's plenty of good people from that part of the country. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there's a certain culture when it comes to Boston. They are a legacy franchise. There's two legacy franchises in the NBA, and they one of them. You know what I mean? They want to win a certain way. They've been winning since the 60s, like he said. Lucky him, right? See all them championships to where he can even have an opinion. Um, I do think Kevin Durant comes with a certain type of emotional baggage, though. If I'm running a team, I know he's gonna be on Twitter. I know he gonna be doing all the stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't waste no time doing. So he gonna make burner accounts. He gonna go back and forth with fans. He gonna do that now. All the more power to him. That's how he get down. You know what I mean? If he can handle it and he can out, that's him. I just know that that's something that I don't like in a team sport. There's too much star power when it comes to as a Heat fan, I saw the big three thing, and I don't like those kind of teams anymore. I prefer the more how Miami is now. Like we got 10, 12 guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like how the Warriors do it. The Warriors will have 9, 10 guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you got your big players, but you got your nights where, Tyler Hero will go for 30. You got you know what I'm saying? Your random PJ Tucker hit all his threes, go for 21. You know what I'm saying? And obviously Ty PJ Tucker, but that was just an example. I just prefer the more team ball. And it does come along, and I understand him not wanting to deal with that. So I mean, I get that. He shouldn't have said it like that. Rude or fucked up, but I mean, I could see that because I would have said the same. If I was a Celtics, I'd have said the same thing. Why are y'all trying to break this up? We almost won. But this dude, who is just, you know what I mean?
Well, they did almost win, but I get what you're saying. You made your point.
Yeah, look, they took him to 6 games. So
win. After game,
it's not, bro. It's not, but it's not like y'all swept them.
I hear you. I hear you. But after we figured them out, they won't win it again.
Well, we knew, but okay, but that's the thing, bro. We watched so much basketball, bro. We already caught it. It was either gonna be the Celtics 7 or the Warriors in 6, and it just was what it was.
Yeah, I hear you.
If it was, and I ain't even gonna lie, bro. If it was Miami, y'all would probably did the same thing to us, bro. 4-2.
Yeah.
6 games, 7 games. You know what I'm saying? Either we win in 7 or y'all win in 6. It would have been the same. So that's why I wasn't mad that they beat us either, because I thought they represented the East well, and I thought they represented that year of Eastern Conference basketball very well. And I thought they did. So it was more, credit and respect to them. So then when I heard they was trying to trade, I'm like, what are y'all talking about?
They trying to win, man. They missed the KD and Paul Pierce. They feel so distant.
Yeah, bro. Jaylen Brown.
They were trying to trade Jaylen Brown.
Bro, and Jaylen Brown was the real one who was holding them down.
Yeah, but they didn't feel like that. They put in hopes in, Jason Tatum.
Excuse me. I think it was more the fact that you can't trade Jason Tatum, so Jaylen Brown is the only person worthy enough to be able to get KD.
Okay, I give you that.
I think it was more that. I can kind of see the process of how you would, go about the trade if you wanted to make it, but I don't see why they would want to make it. Like if it was me, just like they said, added Malcolm Brogdon, solid player to fill in and do some of those things. And
I like the game though, man. I like Brogdon's game, to be honest.
I think that's what I'm saying is like, nah, like ain't nobody trying to hear none of that nonsense. Just keep doing what y'all doing.
Yeah, we gonna see.
Because I don't want no KD. KD Celtics, no, bro, get out of here.
I welcome him back to Golden State anytime you want to come back.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, I heard that.
Steph, I heard Steph talk to him.
Yeah. If you want to come back, come on back, but let's win a few more. Anyway, with that said, let's go ahead and wrap it up. See y'all next week. Take care a lot with some of this music right here.